welcome back to the channel. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and roll your notifications to all so you don't miss any of the demonic content. Today's demonic spotlight addresses a rather confusing figure: Abaddon, Apollyon, or Exterminans. All of these names can variously be understood as Destroyer. As if having three potential names isn't difficult enough to keep track of, we'll also see that the character could potentially have three different broad identities: as a place, as an angel doing its duty to God, and as a demonic being. In Hebrew Bible, Abaddon is most often referenced as a place, the place of destruction, most often in the same breath with Sheol, a kind of nebulous land of the dead. While Sheol appears largely neutral, a kind of underworld space in Hebrew mythology, we get the idea from Hebrew Bible that Abaddon is definitely not a place you'd want to go. We also start to get some personification of this place that begins as well. In the New Testament, Abaddon appears as an entity in Revelation, specifically Revelation 9. This is also where some of the confusion lies, so we're going to focus in here for just a second. Now, this is a somewhat larger section, so I'm just going to point to some of the major features. First, let's look to where Abaddon actually is, which is 9:11. Quote, "They had as king over them the angel of the abyss, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, and in Greek is Apollyon, that is, destroyer." End quote. So the angel of the abyss is identified as Abaddon or Apollyon. He's also listed as a king. What's he king of? Super weird armored apocalypse locust scorpions with human faces. Eat your heart out, H.R. Giger. So even though he's identified as an angel, it's hard to imagine that he's a very nice guy if he commands, nightmare legions. There's also this section up here where people frequently get confused. It says that the narrator sees, quote, "a star that had fallen from the sky to the earth. The star was given the key to the shaft of the abyss." I think some readers see this and the reference to Abaddon being an angel, and they sort of combine the two together, thinking he's a fallen angel with the key to the abyss. I suppose that's hypothetically possible, but there's no face value reason in the text for us to suspect this connection is true. Thus, we could conclude that Abaddon is an angel, one who's just doing his job, even if it is an unpleasant one, which angels tend to do. This seems to be largely the conclusion which Coptic Christians came to, and several Coptic texts, like the Investiture of Abaddon, that is, the Investiture of Abaddon, the Book of Bartholomew, one manuscript of the history of Joseph the Carpenter, and a book on the Dormition of the Virgin attributed to Prochorus, suggest this interpretation of Abaddon. For instance, in the Investiture of Abaddon, we have Peter asking Jesus how it came to be that he, meaning Jesus, invested Abaddon with his frightening power, just as Jesus did with Abaddon's fellow angels. As it turns out, Abaddon was the angel Muriel before he was the only one willing to bring raw materials to make Adam. For his service in the construction of Adam, he's invested with rulership of humanity, he gets a molten throne and a cool new name. In the modern day, Jehovah's Witnesses tend towards a positive interpretation of Abaddon as well, noting that Apollyon comes from apolumi, which is the same term used in Matthew 10:28. Quote, "Do not be afraid of those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather be afraid of the one who can destroy, apolesai, both soul and body in hell." Partially on this basis, they conclude that Apollyon is another name for Jesus. We also have plenty of representations of Apollyon as a kind of nasty demonic type figure. Some historical figures even going so far as to suggest that it's just another name for Satan. Many of these are brief notations or mentions, but one which is particularly sort of well thought out and prominent is in Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan. The novel as a whole is an allegory about the journey to heaven, and on his way to Zion, the main character, Christian, is thrust into battle with Apollyon, a kind of bear-dragon-fish hybrid with fire and smoke coming out of its belly. Combat ensues because Apollyon claims Christian as his subject for the city of destruction and is not wont to give up his charges. The battle rages, with Apollyon throwing darts at Christian, a frequent metaphor for demonic temptation, and Christian attacking with his sword, that is, the Bible, until Apollyon is put to flight. Arguably, the place where we have seen the most fleshing out of the Abaddon character is in contemporary popular culture. Comics, popular TV shows, and film have all expanded significantly on the character of Abaddon, and while they generally are not in agreement about the details, it does show a remarkable love of a character that is really only offhandedly mentioned in biblical literature.